We'll work for podcast. We'll work for podcast.
Glassdoor recently put out an article or just kind of a new list of the 50 best jobs in America for 2021. And it came in the same time that I got this email about the quote unquote happiest jobs in the US. I was looking at this list and I just wanted to bring it up. And so you look at the top five, and obviously there's a combination of like the concept around job satisfaction, openings, and medium base salary. So all of them are in tech. Big surprise, right? The top 10 really: Java developer, data scientist, product manager, enterprise architect. So you really don't see until the 10th, which is dentist, that things start changing sector wise. But in addition to that, it seems like what the thesis is, outside of those tech jobs, which is just like availability and income, that the people that are most satisfied with their jobs are those that are usually in some sort of social welfare type role: teachers, clergy, counselors, those that really like have a passion and a sense of purpose around their work. And I wanted to throw that out there for, what's your response? What did that make you think of when you saw that?
It kind of mirrors, we had a discussion about this when back we were in the Peace Corps, is like, you don't get paid anything to be in the Peace Corps, but what you do get paid with is purpose. Like there's a purpose intrinsically involved within being in the Peace Corps, and you know exactly what you're doing. And that really uplifts your self-esteem because you say, I'm doing something like this. This is for a cause, for a thing. And when you're able to clearly define that and say that out loud, I feel as though it helps with job satisfaction. Because a lot of the jokes of like movies and TV and all of the things is that you're just a cog in the machine, right? You're just another paper pusher making this corporation money. And that's not really a purpose. That's a job and that's a thing to do, but that's not a purpose. And I think that's what it reflects, is that when your job has a clear and present purpose, it's easier for you to enjoy it. Working in international development, a lot of people say they get into it to, actually do good and help out other countries around the world. So that's what I would say about that. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's funny where, the people that have the highest satisfaction in their survey don't necessarily come with the compensation. Like I'm looking, thinking about, educators and some of these other roles. I mean, I will say that that's not exactly true. They have physical therapists here, they have firefighters here, which actually get compensated pretty well, psychologists. That's, I think, one of the hard challenges and hard truths when I think about the nonprofit sector and like the people that are in those spaces, because quite often, right, like there's this huge drive and want and kind of sense of purpose, and yet burnout is so high, and issues around longevity within the career, in part because of the fact that it seems like it comes at a sacrifice for compensation, right? Versus this list that Glassdoor puts out, and it's all these tech-based industries that have advanced credentialing, or at least like very specific credentialing. I think of like data science right now is one of the highest boot camps that you can do, $4,000, often that gets like tuition reimbursement, like where you get placement and then you pay the company. But I wonder where those people fall. And I think that's why I kind of in Silicon Valley anyways, like it's so much the startup mentality is where people prefer to go, because then you end up finding a project that care about. And so that helps you with like the hours and the stress and the workload.
Yeah, there's a reason they call it idealist.org, where you look for those jobs, because it's not a coincidence that that's the job board for nonprofits and social positions. Like a lot of us get into it, and I've worked in the nonprofit sector, I've worked in the for-profit sector. In the nonprofit sector, you have a sense of purpose, and you're saying, I am trying to make the world a better place. Like this is the reason that and then people get taken advantage of and burn out, because like job satisfaction is a lot different than asking about job longevity. Like, do you see yourself doing this for the rest of your life? Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting concept. We've talked about this a lot before too, about job satisfaction helps you mentally, physically get through the day, and it's important. So as long as I feel as though you're at peace with what you're doing, regardless of what it is, then I think it helps a lot.
I will say that ours is ranked number 32. Just to let you know, project manager is ranked number 32 on their list.
Yeah, well, it's a specific type of person that likes doing this kind of work. It's not for everyone, and so that's also something to be aware of, and something that anyone is looking for a job to have to be. Because I think that's a bigger takeaway of when organizations are looking for these positions. Do they do a good job of like rooting out who the actual people who would be successful in these jobs are? And that's probably because, like, if you're a fireman, you got to go through an intensive training program, and they know at the end, like, you're going to be a good fireman. You know, if you're a data scientist person, they have these boot camps for a reason because they're like, we want to know that you can do this. You'll be able to survive at the end of it, and that we know that you're a good data scientist.
Yeah, you leave it the portfolio.
Yeah. And that goes to our discussion before when we talked about like credentialism. And, credentialism has its pros and cons, but tests and credentials were made for a reason to test people. Are you good at doing this? Because we need to know that you're going to be good at doing this. Now, we've overdone it, I would say, in our workforce society, but there was a purpose at the beginning for having these credentials, such as going to college and, getting masters and PhDs. They were designed for a specific purpose. I would say that that purpose has become more blurred these days, but still.
Yeah, and maybe I'll just finish on that side of I understand the concept around it in that employers want to know what your capacity is. Like, do you have the experience and knowledge base to do a role?
Mm-hmm.
I think the challenge therein is there's a resistance to like on the job training, which we also recognize has such value. Like I think back to our new candidate, Alexandria, who talked about like what that program and like, very few sectors do an apprenticeship model of like learning, training and on the job experience that allows you to then get to that union placement that she eventually got as her full-time career.
Yeah.
And I think that's an aspect to it as well, right? We shouldn't necessarily expect people to arrive in a job place completely formed. Like we want them to have a knowledge base and experience and an understanding, and then we should want them to contextualize all of that to the specific role that they're doing within the company.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reality is that employers know this too, because for entry level jobs, 90% of what they're looking for is, are you going to be a good fit on this team? Are you going to be able to come to work each day, do the work and learn and develop? Because 90% of what you do in a job is learned on the job, because there's just so many different things that you have to be attuned to, and they can't teach it all in a college course. I mean, they could, but it would be very specific, and maybe that's the thing. We need to start getting more specific credentialism if that's something you want to go into, and maybe that would alleviate this problem. And certifying you in a specific area will allow you to understand that. But yeah, most of the stuff you do at a job, you learn on the job. Like, really, what you need to know coming into a job, you need to know how to email people professionally. You need to know how to communicate with people professionally, and you need to know how to um, keep a schedule and keep tasks prioritized. That's like 90. That's the stuff, the 10% of the stuff you need to come in with. So
I have our sponsor of the week.
Oh, yeah.
So our sponsor of the week doesn't have an actual company associated with it, but this comes from the Our Jobs Reddit feed, which if you guys are looking for pretty good job related humor, it's a good collective. And this one comes from Bun Furry, who just like is in the application process, putting a lot out there, getting a lot of rejection letters. This particular one was one that this person highlighted, and you'll appreciate the brevity of this, Dan.
Okay.
We're writing to let you know that unfortunately this time your application hasn't been successful. We wish you all the best on your search, and once again, thank you for your interest in joining our team. P.S. If you think we've made a terrible mistake that we'll massively regret, go ahead and let us know by sending us a video explaining why, and maybe we'll reconsider. The person.
Wow. Well, I will tell you that is creative. I'll give it points for creativity. So this is just
in that like that they have like a vent session that they'll let you, or do you think that people might actually constructively use that space of like actually trying to like okay, the interesting thing is we've talked a little bit about organizations that you feel really drawn to,
yeah,
but you get rejected from.
Mm-hmm.
Like I guess this would be that way of like trying to appeal and say, hey, look, like, I really care about what you're doing. This is why. So I guess they would give you that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to hear. I would be fascinated to know what percentage of applicants send in a video response. I would be
Mm,
fascinated to see one of those things because I do think it is a good. I do think it is a litmus test to say, oh, this person, and maybe you don't pick them, but you say, oh, this person is actually really passionate about doing this. We need to keep an eye on
yeah.
this person.
And they send you that letter back saying, like, we will keep your resume on file.
Yeah, I don't know. This was just something that somebody sent in and they got this response. I think bravo, because I think it's okay not to give specifics from just if it's a one time through and you didn't get even anything back, it's like, hey, we don't need to give you any specifics. We just need you to know you're not getting this. Um, you're not getting this job. But
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think if it gives you a platform to say, hey, if you really think that we made like they said, an egregious error, tell us, like confront us, essentially, which is fascinating to saying. Also, who is watching those videos? Like I'm fascinated by this now.
Oh, it's definitely the intern.
So it's just an intern watching these videos.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. You can go on.
No, 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 no. I mean, I don't know. Like, and I will say that respect to Bun in the sense that they have decided not to reveal the name of the company because they're a little bit worried about what might come back to them. But appreciated them putting that post out there and just kind of sharing that. I will say that they were very irate with that response. They thought it was a little too curt and just kind of cold. And it was interesting to watch the banter go back and forth of people trying to say, like, kind of your point of actually that might be an opportunity if you're open to it. And
Yeah.
so we would love to hear from you. As you know, we collect rejection letters. Our email address is willwork4 podcast@gmail.com. That's willwork4 podcast@gmail.com. You can also DM us on Instagram or send us a message on Facebook. We would love to hear from you, whether that's a rejection letter, an acceptance letter, or just like a really strange job story that you just think people should hear because we all have them. Send it to us. We would love to read it on air and kind of normalize this process for the whole community.
On with the show.
All right, we're joined here today by Joseph Alteri, who's the account executive and consultant with New York Wired for Education LLC, and just a little bit about what they're doing. They, founded back in '91, kind of established to provide state and local governments and nonprofits with different types of training programs and workforce development. But now, part of the reason we've invited them on is they have a digital platform. It's called Metrix Learning, which is a web-based learning management system, and it's really looking to allow people to kind of upgrade their skills and find job placement in a variety of different disciplines and ways. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So, Joseph, thank you for being with us.
Well, absolutely. Thank you for having me, Brendan. Very much appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the questions we like to kind of ask is people that find their way into this space, like how is it that you came to join Metrix and start doing the work that you're doing?
Yeah, strangely enough, I was an investment broker for probably 20 years. I lived in Philadelphia and in Tampa and moved back up to upstate New York to get married to my childhood sweetheart who didn't want me 20 years previously to that. But
It works out.
we both went through a divorce and she got me back up to New York State. So coming up here, I went to work in business development, left the brokerage industry. Albany, New York is actually the world's leader for nanotechnology, computer chip design. We've got Amazon, Intel, all those guys are up here. Close, very competitive with Austin, Texas. But I got a job with SUNY Poly, who is the school where all of this nanoscience is going on, business development, working with large companies. And every company I worked with needed workers. They all needed workforce. So as I was meeting with companies, I met a man named Brian Lee who had the Metrix learning platform. And I said, look, all these companies need employees. They need people with the basic skills and maybe some industrial level skills to start out with. And his platform was like I'd never seen anything like it. It has sort of like a skill gap, finds where your skill gaps are based on an assessment when you start up, and then in looking at that, choosing the occupation that you're interested in, it shows you where those skill gaps are with regard to that position. So initial assessment, compare it to what the requirements for a position are, and then where your skill gaps are. It's going to give you courses to remediate. And as you take courses, those skill gaps close. It's all charted, and you're getting certificates of completion as you're working through it, showing you closing those skill gaps and earning skills, learning the things that either you need in a new position, or even if it's your first time going to work, you got those work readiness skills there, your critical thinking, emotional intelligence, things like that that you can learn through an online platform. So the companies loved it that I was working with. He asked me to come work for him, and I said, yeah, it's more money than working in government. So, SUNY schools are government. So I moved on into the private sector back in, and it's been great. I love it. It's very cool. A lot of traveling around the country, and we have a good time with it.
Well, so explain that a little bit more in detail in the sense of like, what is then the mission and vision of Metrix, and who kind of are your participants and clients?
So our main clients are workforce boards, which are generally the county level, and departments of labor at the state level. So we can deal, if someone out there was interested in taking Metrix courses, they certainly can. They can go in, sign up for a license, and start taking courses immediately. But our main business model now, we go meet with the workforce board or the state DOL. They purchase basically our community platform, which is called Skill Up America. So if you purchased it in, where we are in Texas right now, if one of the workforce boards down there were to purchase it, it would be, Skill Up Rural Capital, something along those lines. And it would be a portal where somebody can come in and you can extend those services to everyone in the community who is either unemployed or underemployed. So those people can come in, they purchase the workforce board would purchase for a single price an unlimited number of licenses. Anyone in the community can come to their Skill Up portal, log in, and start taking courses.
So really, it's not about the individual participant at this point. You guys are looking at scale, and you're going into full communities and offering these different packages.
Correct. So we're looking to upgrade the workforce within that community. And the workforce board can bring in whatever partners they want, whether it's social services, their parole boards, high school K-12 level, and register people to start taking courses. Obviously, not everyone is going to college right after high school, and being able to get some of those work courses. Look, I took some project management courses through Skillsoft, and I took some Microsoft Excel training. The courses that we offer, they're the same courses used by the majority of the Fortune 500 to train their own internal employees. So Skillsoft's main audience are those companies with 500 employees or more, and they buy them, in bulk. But if you were to go to Skillsoft directly, a license is going to run you around $350. But we get the workforce board to purchase it. Anyone can go in, anyone in the community can go in and start learning for free.
And what kind of things are they trying to do? Like you've mentioned Excel, you mentioned kind of the Microsoft suite. Are you picking a career and then you're looking to see what type of courses are available? Or is it more you're looking for skills and then eventually attaching that to a job description?
So we have 10 industry pathways. Each one has about 20 to 25 jobs in it. So we got over 200 in-demand occupations. You can pick a specific occupation that you're interested in. You take that self-assessment at the beginning. So the self-assessment is going to have about 50 questions in it. There will probably be 10 of them that would be pertinent to that particular job. But by answering all of them, as you look at all different occupations, you're going to see what you may be most tailored to going towards. So you're going to basically be able to take courses for what your dream job is, or a lot of what we do outside of that is working with the workforce boards to put together youth curriculum. People, again, we talk about high school students getting ready for that first job, summer youth employment programs, but also we put together new hire training programs for businesses. So if an area, a county purchases that Skill Up platform, your local businesses can get free new hire training through the Metrix platform. So I can train my employees on time management, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, Microsoft Excel, Word, sexual harassment, diversity, active shooter. We have all of those types of courses in there, and it's all covered. You can take as many courses as you want for that license. So the license is good for 180 days or 6 months, and you can take as many courses in that time as you like. Every course that you complete, as I said, you get that certificate of completion at the end that you can show to prospective employers when you go meet with them. I took courses, Skillsoft courses in leadership, or whatever the courses you take, you're going to have a certificate showing that you completed that particular course.
One of the challenges we've often heard when we're talking with workforce development programs, like one most recently is here in the Bay Area called Work to Future, and they just kind of noticed an incomplete pipeline between training and placement. And I'm curious, like, what work has Metrix done to address that particular challenge?
Training and placement again. So we're a virtual platform. We work with workforce boards. We try to help with solutions when we can. So, for instance, in upstate New York, we've put together a manufacturing badge with 4 local manufacturers. We sit down with the manufacturers, make sure they have some skin in the game, designing the curriculum. We made up of courses and assessments. Anyone successfully completing all the coursework is automatically being interviewed for a position at one of those 4 companies, and every one of them has been hired to date. Obviously, if you have somebody that has all those skills you're looking for, you're going to hire them. So we're actually with these guys. We're working with them even at that high school level. We're now, I've put together marketing material that they bring with them into the high school, and you give them to your high school juniors and seniors and say, start taking these courses now. If you're not going to college when you're done with high school, I got a job for you. I got a job for you coming out. And then, if somebody's interested in getting an industry recognized certification on top of that, which we offer through the platform as well, you're coming out making 70 grand, out of high school. So if you're dedicated, again, like any other educational program, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. But if you're dedicated and you can do work online without a teacher yelling at you or making you do the work, there's huge cost savings involved. And you're coming out, depending on what it is you were trying to do, whether you're going after a specific badge or a certification, you're coming out with something tangible that you can show an employer that you have done this. And in a lot of the country, this is offered for free. I mean, the work, and I say free, the workforce board has already paid for it, or the Department of Labor has already paid for it. You can come to us directly, as I said, um, and we can, you can contact us through our website, and we can set you up with an individual license, and you can take as many courses as you'd like. Now, I mentioned industry recognized certifications briefly.
Yeah.
Through the platform, your regular Metrix license comes with all the training required for 130 different industry recognized certification. With a license, you can go in and choose anyone you want, or multiple ones if you want to, if you're crazy, want to go after that. But you can go in and take all the courses. Our certification tracks also come with access to a mentor who's a subject matter expert. You can contact 24/7 via chat or email, and you can get all of the training involved in that just through that license. Where a cost would come in is when you actually sit for an exam. There's a cost for a seat, for a test voucher. So it'd be like $50 for a test packet if you wanted some extra practice tests, and then sitting for an exam will be anywhere from $170 for like a Microsoft Excel, all the way up to $800 for some of the more advanced cybersecurity exams. Project management, I think, is about $350. That's one of the most. I'm sorry, $650. That's one of our more expensive ones. But if you go to Villanova University, next to one of our customers, they charge you $7,000 for a project management course. You can get the exact same certification through the Metrix platform for about $650. And if you go to the project management website, it doesn't say, hey, you got yours through Villanova University. And it just says you have the certification. It doesn't say where you got it from. So when an employer looks, they're going to see, oh, he's project management certified, or she's ready with her Microsoft Office, or it's the governing body that's handling that. Doesn't matter where you get the training, you just have to pass that test.
Yeah, and I suppose like part of that is recognizing whether or not you thrive in the self-directed learning space, but still like it's out there if that's what you can do.
Absolutely.
Obviously this particular year has been a challenge for a lot of people in a lot of different sectors. And, what challenges has that brought to your particular group? And then what responses have you created to move through it?
On our end, the only thing that was really affected is our ability to travel and train people in person. So when we sign up a new customer, we like to go on site, train the staff, show them, all right, so if you're working in a workforce board and you're a career counselor and someone comes and sits down with you, what do you want to assign to them? Because again, there's over 6,000 courses on our platform. Let's assign this person, number one, some courses they're interested in, but also, looking at the education level, what would they be interested in? What would they be best served taking? On the business side of things, unfortunately, our business is doing very well. And I say that because COVID has shut down career centers across the country.
Right.
I mentioned, the state of Texas approached us. We'd like to offer virtual career services to the unemployed in our state. So We have, it's a web-based platform where we're available 24/7 from anywhere with internet connection. You log in whenever you feel like you need to take courses or would like to take courses at your schedule. So it all works around you. We've had requests. Obviously, as the economy starts to reopen, we're going to be dealing with a new normal. We need more people with the ability to work from home, work remotely. So we have built digital learning, digital literacy tracks. We've built working remotely skill tracks, things of 10 to 15 courses to get you up to speed where you might need to be if you're going to be stepping into a work from home situation, whether it's going back to your old employer or a new one. A lot of people are working from home and realize they don't really need that office anymore. Weekly, we do a webinar session, a live webinar. Our staff hosts it. Anyone in the country taking Metrix courses wants some updates on the platform. They're not quite sure how things work, or they want some more information regarding a skill track or certification. They can just join the webinar, the live webinar session, ask questions directly to us, trying to make ourselves available in lieu of these people being able to go into the brick and mortar and get the career services that they may have been used to getting. Now they can get them from home. And again, something is better than nothing, and the something on our end, fortunately, we have a very robust platform. And when people see it, workforce boards generally are, let's do this. It's very cost effective for them, and they can reach that wider audience. People that maybe never would have stepped into a career center are now able to get those virtual career services from home. I mean, honestly, I was laid off once in my life and I had no idea what a career center was. I'd never been to one. I immediately started looking for a job. And when I found a job, I went back to work. So there are career centers out there to help you get back to work. Right now, they're struggling like everyone else with COVID because there's the social distancing. They can't have all the people coming in that used to come in. And, some of them aren't open to the public at all. Certain states have not eased up on COVID restrictions. So those people have to find things virtually. And our platform allows them to do job search. In Texas, taking courses in Metrix right now counts as job search action. So as you're doing things through Metrix, depending on the area, some things are, available to you that weren't available until the area had some virtual services they could offer.
And even just like that would help them with some of these challenges people are having around unemployment. So that's great to know as well.
And we are speaking with Work to Future, by the way.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, and it makes sense. It's just it's a funny extension of that dialogue. So we had talked to them about a month ago and like kind of what they're thinking and where they're moving. And when I found what you guys do, I saw a lot of overlap there. That's why I reached out.
We've been in discussions with California for a bit. There are a few. I know there are a few that have been pretty aggressively just starting out with things. So I know the Long Beach, San Jose, and I think Sacramento, SETA would probably be the big three there right now that we're probably looking to get really ramped up with, which is probably not near you.
No, well, I mean, I'm in Richmond, so San Jose would be the closest, but yeah, I'm a Bay kid. That kind of leads into my next question: is if we have listeners that are kind of all over the place right now in the States, and so how can they find your services? What is the next step that they would have to take if they're interested in participating?
First thing I would do would be to reach out to my local workforce board or career center. We work with more of them than we do the DOL. I can tell you, if you're somebody that is in Connecticut, if you're in Oklahoma, if you're in Texas, and soon to be New Jersey, you're going to get it for free right off the bat. So you can get that from your state. Your basically your state DOL is going to have a link on their website. But check with your workforce board first. I think we're in probably about 17 or 18 states now. We've got another 9 in the hopper. But if you want to reach out to Metrix Learning, you can go to our website at metrixlearning.com. That's METRIX learning.com. And there's a contact us. And you can just click on that and send us an email saying that you're interested in an individual license to start learning. Typically, it's $50 for the full year. So you'll have a full year to take as many courses as you like for $50. That includes the industry recognized certification trainings. All of that is included. And you'll have the job search functionality. And we're rolling out Metrix 4.0 probably in the next month or so. We're adding gamification to courses. Most of the courses are mobile friendly. You're going to be able to do them on your phone. Obviously, the gamification courses as well, with leaderboards and competitions and all that type of stuff that
You're reaching out to the millennials?
that workforce boards seem to think the kids want. So that's what you're going to get. But as I said, hopefully you can get it for free. If not now, hopefully in the near future you'll be able to get it for free. But we're more than happy to set you up now with a year for $50.
How does Metrix measure success? Like, what does that mean to you all?
So a certificate of completion to us is success as far as somebody has completed courses and upskilled. So a main push of WIOA is recognizing skill gain and showing skill gain. So we can help do that. And that's on the workforce board side. Individually, when we can, and again, a lot of this is private information and a lot of it depends on the individual themselves following up with the workforce board to let us know what happened. We get testimonials, things of that nature. But success to me is somebody getting placed in a job, whatever it is. But we want to help you upskill. Success can also be measured if a new business moves into an area. Companies have moved directly to that area because they knew, well, this area is already taking care of that soft skills training, that first level of training, and we're going to have access to a good crop of workers. That is a business's number one determining factor on where they're going to locate. It's not cost of place. It's, am I going to have people to work in my factory? Am I going to have people to work with my company? So there has to be that something there. And when the community is involved, when you have something called Skill Up and a prospective business comes into town and takes a look at that means something to them. And that does, and they can take a look at, again, they could take a look at the curriculum that's in there, and we can work with them to design curriculum so people are skilled up before they get there and before they're ready to open their doors and bring people in. So there's a lot of ways we measure success. We work on a lot of different programs. So, we think of it, how did that program do this time around? What has the improvement been with this area's youth? With this area's, again, social services? Are we getting people in taking courses? A lot of times, we're kind of on that fence with, we go into a workforce board or a certain area and it might be, we want to make sure that these people are getting all their benefits versus we want to make sure these people are getting back to work. We want you to get a job. We want you to be successful and be proud and everything else. You're back to work, and it's because of the work that you did that got you there. We are a for-profit. So you want to say, what is success? Well, the revenue's way up, but that doesn't, for these purposes, what we want are people getting back to work.
That customer satisfaction piece helps you out in that way too, because that's why you can expand into these different markets.
Absolutely.
One of the last questions that I kind of would like to ask is just kind of around, since you do have this breadth, perspective in terms of work and work placement and these different people that are taking these courses from you, what have you noticed are maybe even just like the most popular, the most effective of the skills that people are gaining from your site?
Our most popular ones, and I will say by far, are those work readiness skills. So we have put together, because again, the markets that we work with, it's that WIOA market, the unemployed or the underemployed, and getting people back to work, and a lot of times getting them into their first job. Right now, we're finding more and more people have been laid off and have to go back to work. If they want to go back to that same sort of position, they need to learn how to do the Excel spreadsheets that their employees, that people that work for them had been doing, using your Word to type things up. But even beyond that, having those basic, wherever we go in the country, every business tells us the same thing. I can train them to do this job. I need them to know to show up to work, how to type up an email. It's all the basic things that at the college level, we're not training people to get them ready to go into that first job. This isn't just a high school problem. This is a socialization problem. So, being able to look someone in the eye, being able to shake hands, it's these things that, that the way that work is done. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, things are changing because we've got this work at home thing now going on pretty well. But basic workplace skills, harassment, diversity training, those things people need to have going into a workplace. And that has been the largest request from employers in Florida, California, Maine, Texas, everywhere. That's what they need. That's what their students are lacking or their employees are lacking coming out. And we haven't done a great job, I think, as a country getting people into those basic places. So, I mentioned those gamification courses. The workforce area that one of them that requested said, yeah, you know what we need those to be? We need financial literacy, basic financial literacy, basic workplace skills, and interviewing skills. Those were the first three that they requested. Those were the first three that we put together, and those are the ones that we're testing right now. So that's what everyone wants. Certification wise, and I can tell you a Microsoft Excel certification is the most sought after certification across the board. We're very lacking in IT security and cybersecurity individuals, but everyone needs someone who knows Microsoft Excel. And you can be a superstar. I used to work with a guy that wouldn't tell me his secrets. He sat across from me and he was in on all of the big meetings because he could put the tables together, the pivot tables and all that stuff. I had no idea what they were. So I was stuck managing people and he was putting reports together and laughing. And you make a lot of money being able to do that. So part of what we offer, we do like for an area, we'll do like a certification demand for their particular area, showing based on these certifications, here are the job openings you have right now. Here are the job openings in a 25-mile radius around your city. Here's what these are all paying through Glassdoor.com. The majority of jobs that are carrying a certification that would like to have a certification, they're generally in that anywhere from $40,000 to $90,000 coming out just with that certification. More than half, it's closer to 70% of individuals working in IT in Manhattan do not have a college degree. They have certifications. You don't need to go to college for 4 years to get a good job. You can go and get a certification and a 1-year degree or something like that and step into a job making six figures right out of high school. So it's out there. You need to talk to your parents and say, here's what the jobs that are out there and here's stuff that pays. That's what I want to do. And it's a lot cheaper. You save a ton of money. You don't need loans.
Just thinking about the amount of debt. Yeah, exactly.
My brother's a doctor. He's 54. He's still paying off his student loan.
Right.
I hope he doesn't see this.
Well, we always like to leave it kind of open-ended. What haven't I asked you that you think our listeners should know?
If you're interested, I think it would behoove you to reach out to your workforce board to see if these courses are there. If you're trying to get back to work, even if you're looking to start something new, if you want to return to what you were doing before, that's great. We have courses for that. But the opportunity is there while you have this time. Think about, do you want to start your own business? Do you want to take managerial courses? There's entrepreneurial courses in the platform, different ways that you can look at things and reinvent yourself if that's what you want to do. But you can also brush up on things that you had been doing, or if you're looking to move up into the next position, there's managerial content in here, first-time manager courses, a whole track on things of that nature. Or if you have one specific thing that you want to improve on. And have you wanted to learn Excel? Have you wanted to learn Word, PowerPoint, work on your presentation skills? It's all available to you and you can do it from home. So hopefully you're in an area where you can do this for free. You can log in and just start taking courses right away and get yourself going back towards where you want to be. Take some courses if you have the time. Even if you want to start, thinking about doing something else, go in, take an assessment, see where your skills come out and see what job may be more geared toward than you think you are.
Use it to find your fit. Yeah, I like that. Well, thank you, Joseph. We really appreciate your time, and it's cool. Like we'll definitely link to the website, and for those of you that are listening, like just reach out to your local job board and start there. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Brendan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'm sure that I thought it was an interesting model that he was trying to go at, and you could see that they're trying to do direct pipelining to say, and this was happening at Canva with Cara as well, of take these tests, you'll get a job. And I think that works well for some industries, but I also worry because there's a lot of that especially for lower socioeconomic platforms that deal with that population and workforce, is they are a lot about credentialism. Here is take these tests, get these credentials, be ready to go work. And so it would have been and that's fine for a lot of things, but like as we know, for a lot of other positions, it's a lot of it's more of, can you do the work? Like how are you going to get this done? And I thought that was interesting. That's something that he actually addressed of, there's no courses in high school or in college to actually prepare you to work in an environment, in in a real office. And that is a problem that, people are seeing as well. And so I thought it was interesting that he brought that up and that he addressed that as well, that is also something that they try to deal with.
Yeah, and I looking at the site, there's a pretty wide variety of classes that you can take. I mean, even you and I were talking about our need to improve our Excel knowledge, and I think it's funny that that's one of their higher used offerings, and it makes sense, right? In these environments and these technical careers, that's kind of the need. So I think it's a pretty broad set that they pander to, and it's just really a question of like, can you access that? I do really like the fact that if your district or your, county subscribes, like you can get all this for free at your fingertips, which does mean there's a lot out there potentially for people that are seeking.
I'm glad that they've gone. Their model is that they approach the government and they ask them to pay for this and essentially allow the users to access it whenever they want, and not the other way around, because they could have easily been said, "Oh no, we want to target individuals and make you pay for it." But I think it's a better model to say, "Oh, well, if we get the government on board and get their workforce programs to pay for it, that it can just be a resource available to anyone in that district or in that area," which is great.
Totally.
I hope people, subscribe, and I hope it helps people. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here it goes.
But
Name that job.
Name that job. Name that job.
Name that job.
Name that job.
Oh man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I guess we're going into our world famous segment, Name That Job. And for this segment, we're coming from Atlanta, Georgia. So salary is $45,000 to $50,000 a year. It's full time. They're looking for one person. Qualifications: case management, 3 years; program management, 3 years; English required; U.S. Work authorization; bachelor's preferred. Organization program interview: the Urban League of Greater Atlanta is a 100-year-old historic civil rights organization dedicated to economic empowerment to elevate the standard of living in historically underserved urban communities. The goal of the organization is to act as a catalyst for change and leadership with a social entrepreneurial spirit in the Greater Atlanta region. And they work with education and job skills training, employment, careers and entrepreneurship, housing and community development, financial literacy and wealth creation, civic engagement and leadership and youth development. Position: this position assists clients in finding ways to supplement their income or reduce their expenses through benefits that the FEC will refer to as income supports. Income supports may not be limited to public benefits such as food stamps, medical benefits, LAPE, and more. Other benefits may include EITC, free eyeglasses, and such. You provide one-on-one income supports counseling to programs participants, conduct a general benefit screening, discuss all benefits, outcome tracking, track stories and successes of program participants, maintain contact with clients, use efforts to outcome a client management system to document and reflect the outcome of their client data accurately. You conduct workshops, have classes, the job radius, and cultivate a strong relationship with the local DHS and create networking. Previous experience would be good. Knowledge of benefits and community resources, strong data management skills, and competent at following directions. Which I always laugh when they put that in there. But yeah. And they'd like a minimum of a bachelor's degree in human services or social work. So, Brendan Bolin, name that job.
I don't know. This has the training part confuses me, but it definitely is working with. Yeah, I don't know. It's some sort of advocacy, I think, right? Is it about being like a training for child advocates?
So it was a lot in what I put in. You're an income support specialist. That's the title that they give you. So you're not a social worker per se, but I feel you work alongside social workers for sure. You're one department of this advocacy group that helps when somebody's like, hey, we need you to talk to this person to figure out how you can get more supports from the government. And that's what you do. Like, you essentially just make sure that people have the information that they need. So
Yeah.
You got one?
Yeah, so here we're in the state of Wyoming, and we're looking for 16 seasonal positions for this winter. There are 2 different types of positions to be filled. So they're essential functions. Listed functions are illustrative only and are not intended to describe every function which may be performed in the job level. Assist full-time program staff in the signing and staking of over 2,500 miles of trails. This work includes installation of signs and stakes at the beginning of the season, maintaining the signs and stakes as snow accumulates over winter, removal of deadfall, prune tree limbs, and keep trails clear of hazards during the winter season, removal of all stakes and signage at the end of this season. So that's one of the positions. That's 16 an hour. The other is well, never mind. We'll just leave it at that. Danner, name that job.
So do you work for the Parks Department?
Sort of.
Because you're removing trees. So you're, I don't know, an arborist? Correct. A landscaper.
Well, remember, this is in the winter. So I'll say this much. The other 2 positions, which actually pay $2 more, one is a snow removal worker and the other is a trail grooming worker. But this one is specific to the installation of signs and stakes.
Wait, but what would be the tree removal then aspect of it? I'm so confused.
Because it's just a hazard during the winter season. If there's a storm, you got to go through and like remove.
So you're a sign putter?
You are a trail signage worker. 16 an hour.
Trail signage worker. So
yeah, you're going around, you're like putting up signs to make sure that people don't get probably lost or, whatever in the, I mean, it's Wyoming. I don't really know. I haven't been, but
All right. Well, you learn something new every day. That's the end of our world famous segment. Name that job.
Named it.
And so, yeah, guys, thanks for listening in. Please follow us on all the social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Help us with the analytics, rate, review, and subscribe.
Yes, the analytics control our life. So rate, review, subscribe. Email us at willworkforpodcast@gmail.com. We'll be putting out a newsletter here pretty soon, too. So let us know your email. And yeah, thanks for coming along with the ride, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Keep on keeping on.